So my name's Burt Sakata. I was production designer. Brian Cohn and some of the actors are on Maui right now doing the same thing we're doing here tonight. And this production was done really with a lot of help from the community. And as you saw in the credits, there were almost 500 people that assisted in the film for free. And this is how we got it done, because it was an ultra low budget film. We did it under $1 million. So it was very tough. I'm just going to kind of rattle off a few facts about how we shot this. It's all shot on Maui, every bit of it. Completely edited on Maui, color corrected, everything was done on Maui. The actors are all from Hawaii. Rose Coyle, she's from Hilo originally. She's working actress in Los Angeles. Moronai Kanekoa Nohea is from Maui, and he's also a SAG actor in Los Angeles now. And the older Kimberly is Sonia Balmora. She's from Kauai. And then, of course, you know all the list of endless faces that you probably recognize in this movie, like Augie T. And by the way, Augusta Talba is Augie T's real name. That was the one thing he wanted. So that's what Brian wrote it in. It was amazing that we actually got this film done, because it's very difficult to do a movie like this in with under $1 million. You need a lot more than that. But we shot this film in 15 shooting days. And it was spread out over about 3.5 weeks. And needless to say, we were all totally wiped out. So, just from the production perspective, all those rooms and interior scenes that you see, the bar scenes, those were all created. None of those existed. The grandma's living room, grandma's bedroom, Bill Kanekoa's bedroom, the Coyle's living room, we all had to create those sets. The bars. The only places that were probably relatively intact were the hotel scenes, and that was the first scenes that we shot, and that was given to us by Ka'anapali Beach Hotel. They hosted us and they fed us, they did everything possible to make that happen. They were really wonderful, and that's what we experienced throughout shooting this film. We had a amazingly tight crew. It takes about 30 people to shoot every scene. And we all had mountains of work and problems to solve, and there wasn't a single complainer. And we just got through every day. And from the production side, we tried to create these sets and environments for the actors so that they could fall into their characters quickly. And shoot the scenes. We had no days to make up. If we didn't get the shot, we just couldn't make it up. We would have to alter the story. So a lot of pressure, but we had a lot of good actors, and I'd like to introduce you to J.D. right here.
Aloha, my name is J.D. Tanuvansa, and I play the sassy Terry, the bartender and paddler. Yeah, I'm just really honored that I got to be part of this film. This is when a dream comes true. This is my second film. My first film was The Haumana, and this is just been a big opportunity for me to be part of another Hawaiian film, and also cast as a Hawaiian. Not that many people can really say that they got cast as their own, as themselves. I am basically Terry, just a little bit depending on my mood, but. Yeah. But I'm just extremely grateful because it's really important to tell our stories as Native Hawaiians and Polynesians, and I'm just really grateful. Plus, I'm from Kaimoki, so it's really surreal to have it at Kahala Theater. So it's still, soaking it in, but I'm just really honored. I was given the opportunity. I was given this role. I was offered this role. So it was a big deal for me because Brian had seen Haumana and he just wanted to have dim sum one night in downtown, and we met and he just said he's been working on this project for many years and he wants to offer me this role. So of course I said yes. And it's just been an incredible experience. It's something different. Being on an independent film, it's like we really are ohana. Like we are a small tight group of it's a family, and we have to get this done. And it was just an amazing experience to be a part of this because everyone was focused, and we just did it. Like 13 days, 15 days. So it was just, yeah, it came together, and we got it done, and we partied hard after.
This is true.
Yeah.
I think a lot, that Brian, the director and writer, did really think about what actors he would like to have played in each role. And certainly Moranai and Christina and Sonia, yes, sorry, I was forgetting it. Sonia, and certainly Marlene Tsai were all, he personally talked to them. And everybody kind of walked onto this set very nervous. We all knew it was ambitious. And we all had to just say to each other that we were going to do it and we would get each other's back every single day to get it done. And that's how we finished this film. So one of the first time actors actually on film is Vinny Chun, Uncle Bossy. This is the first time he's been in
ever.
Right. He did a fantastic job. And I think a lot of the story works with that we had a great cinematographer, Dan Hersey. That wonderful scene in the prison where he's talking to Nohea through the glass. That was all Dan Hersey's and Brian Cohn's vision. That was actually shot through the same window that was Toba's office. We shot all Toba's scenes that day and then put drapes behind where all the Toba's stuff was and shot that scene like it was in the prison. We took the blinds down, took everything out, told everybody don't walk behind, but that's a powerful scene, and that really came through. And that same day, literally next door to that, we shot the time clock scenes in the hotel were created in that same space right next door to it. So, as soon as we were done that, we were shooting that. So we were cramming all these ideas daily and having to jump into different roles fast.
And whatever obstacles came up, we just had to handle it right there.
Right.
And just keep going.
So anyway, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Did he really have one leg?
Moranai has 2 legs.
Two.
Good job.
Good question.
Where did you do the underwater scenes?
The underwater
Can
scenes.
you repeat the question so people?
Oh yeah. Where did we do the underwater scenes? The underwater scenes with the sharks were shot at Mahukona. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those we actually did do those. Amazing. There's a group of tiger sharks that like to hang out at the harbor entrance. We actually shot that.
Where did you find the jukebox?
The jukebox, good question. Now that scene, which is we call it the Vineyard Tavern scene, is the old Buzz's Wharf in Ma'alaya Harbor, which is empty. There's nothing in that room. It was literally blank. And we had to create that entire set in 2 days. So the actors had a day and a half off, and the art crew was like, oh, good, we can take a rest. And I looked at them, and no, you can't. We gotta build this, we gotta get this set ready in 2 days. And that jukebox, we looked everywhere. We went to every bar on Maui. We went everywhere looking for a jukebox. The only one we could find that we knew of, that belongs to Mick Flickwood. Fleetwood.
Oh, really?
And it's at his house in Kula. Okay, it's fully loaded. It weighs about 700 or 800 pounds. It took 6 Tongans to get it into that truck, and we drove it down in the middle of the night. And there's no elevator, and we're on the 2nd floor.
Oh.
And so we got it in there, and we shot those scenes in 2 days. And it was quite a feat to do all of that and get that jukebox. But the director was insistent that we have it, and you can see why it's critical for that scene. But yeah, I think the art crew was really proud of that set. It was really quite an accomplishment, and there's actually more to it you can't see in the film, but we actually made more. Yes.
How proficient were the actors originally in speaking Olelo Hawaii?
How proficient the actors were in speaking Olelo Hawaiian. That's a really good question.
Well,
Because, yeah,
we had the
well, Sonia, Kimberly, and Moronai, and they were not native speakers.
You did good.
Yeah, they had to learn this, and we had a really good, yeah.
Who was the kumu?
Kui
The Olelo kumu
Kapero.
from Maui?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Kui
So
Kapero.
he's right there doing their whole process.
Right, so they were coached in their Hawaiian, and he particularly was looking at some colloquial forms from Maui. And so it might sound different to some people, but they did really well. Amazing. And yeah, that's a really good question. Back there.
So what was the biggest obstacle you guys had to overcome, and did you have to scrap any of the story because you couldn't?
What is the biggest obstacle?
Oh, wait.
Boy. Fear. The biggest obstacle was fear. Budget was a big thing, and trying to stay on budget. I think once we shot everything we wanted to shoot. So even though we knew, I think part of it was we knew we didn't have a makeup day, so we had to just do it and get it. Biggest fear, boy. I think every day was just constant fear that we weren't going to get it, and there were many things that would happen, like the weather. If you look at those Kaho'olawe scenes, that's actually in Ma'alaya, and it was actually really bad weather. It was windy and rainy, and we were saying, how are we going to make this look great, So it was really a challenge. But the helicopter company wasn't really cooperating, so we had to really push to get that scene in the chopper, and boy, it was just constant.
Yeah, it was a constant battle.
Right. I mean, and there were little crazy things like the couch that you see the little Kimberly talking to Rose in their living room was supposed to go be the couch in Grandma's living room. But when we got it, and I got that at Salvation Army, and it was sitting outside, and I said, oh, how much is that couch? And she kind of looked at me and she went, if you take it today, it's free. Okay, so we took it up to the house where we're going to turn that room into Grandma's living room, and try as we might, we could not get it in the door. We turned it every single way. I mean, so it ended up in that Rose's living room, and we had to get another couch. And so finally, we were done shooting, and that couch is at Brian's house, and he finally put it out on the street and put a free sign on it. Okay. So I drive up, and I said, oh yeah, I see you put the couch out on the street with a free sign. And he goes, yeah, I put it out there a couple days ago, and somebody took it. And I look at it and said, it's out there right now. They brought it back. It was unbelievable. Yes.
Director and writer have good, well, obviously it's good, but if you go to elders and spiritual advisors and cultural advisors to make sure that everything is ready.
Yes. So did Brian, the writer director, consult with other, kupuna and people around? Brian was raised on Maui, and he's Hawaii, but he was raised on Maui, and that's how I ended up actually on Maui. I was raised here. This is my old neighborhood also, and Brian's family moved to Maui when there were probably about 41,000 people. So, which is real, it was very different back then. And so he and I went to Kaho'olawe when he was, I think, a teenager, maybe late high school. I was involved with the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana for decades. So, and our neighbors were also involved. So Brian had a lot of background to work from, and a lot of people to consult with. So so he did.
How do you plan to market and distribute the film, and will it be shown in any film festivals?
It's been in, how will we plan to distribute the film and show it in film festivals? It's been in several film festivals, and San Antonio, which was People's Choice, Guam, which was Best of the Fest, Santa Cruz, which was People's Choice, Tribal, which was the best feature film, and there's one more.
I think that he's going to continue going to the film festivals.
Right.
So I think his main goal is to get it in theaters
Right.
for Hawaii to see.
Our goal is to have this be a commercial successful film in the regular theater system, because it is very difficult for Hawaii filmmakers to break through that wall. And we're trying to, our first goal is to try to do exactly what we're doing right now, and that's showing it in a regular theater system. So right now, this week, it's showing here in Kahala and out in Kapolei. It is showing on Maui in 2 locations, and by the way, it's sold out the entire weekend. And it's showing in Keoho and Hilo, and doing very well there also. So our plan is to try to push the theater run as long as we can. So it's important to you tell your friends to come out and see this film in the theater, because that's what's important. It's also playing in Portland right now, and then after that, we're hoping to do a run on the mainland. If we get enough synergy out of this, then we'll go into other markets. And then probably later in the fall, you'll see it on demand and DVD and whatnot.
Hopefully Hawaiian Airlines. So.
Maybe.
Question for you. As a native Hawaiian myself, and a historian who has been interested in how Hawaiians are portrayed in both films and books, novels, I want to ask you as a native Hawaiian, did you have any reservations about working with Brian at the beginning at all? Did you know him? And so were you going into it who is this guy? How is he going to portray us? And all that kind of stuff.
Actually, I did it because I met Brian because he helped host the Haumana screening in Maui, and he was close to the Haumana director, Keo Wolfberg, and he was already talking about KULEANA to Keo. So I already heard about it, because he's been working on it for how long? How long has he been working?
About 13 years.
Like 13 years. So, and when I talked to Brian, you can already, just by reading his energy and where he was coming from and his heart, you could tell he was coming from the right place. So I felt like this was the right thing to do, you know. And then when I went on set and I met the cast and I was reading the script, I knew that I was supposed to be there. So, yeah.
Brian's first film was Get a Job, which is a comedy, and which we did 7 years ago. And you know, you learn a lot from doing your first film, and one of the things that he was very clear about was trying to build a talent team, you know, the actors that could work well with each other and deliver on all their roles. That's why the key actors you see are SAG actors, Screen Actor Guild actors. And they're used to this, to working like this, and they, you know, and it does help when they can deliver on their lines and then fall into their characters. It helps everybody else with less experience. And really, you know, part of what we did was not just provide a venue for the experienced people, but a lot of our crew are people who are coming up in the ranks or learning. And that's what we did. We do. And when we did Get a Job, there were a number of crew members who were trying it out for the first time and are now working professionally in the business.
Will the soundtrack be available? Because, I mean, it was excellent, and I'm just wondering, how was the licensing of the music? Because it can get to be expensive.
It is expensive. A lot of money was spent on licensing, but you know, Brian felt like it was critical to get that that period music in order to help you fall into that time frame.
Also, Brian is they're very close to Woody K, so Woody K was really helped with this film.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I would imagine at some point there will be a soundtrack available, because it's really good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yes. The funding, where did the funding come from? The funding came from private investors. We were part of one of the last tax credit programs. So the other pressure, unlike film projects that go through crowdfunding, we have investors, so you know, it's more pressure to deliver, which is fine, to make it financially work. So, you know, there's more of a duty to do that. And that's good. It's good exercise to do. Okay, well, thank you everyone. Tell your friends. We really appreciate you coming out.